Hello, my fellow gamers. Today we're going to talk about Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon, which I just finally completed my first playthrough. Now, I usually try to go 100% on these types of games and then give a full sort of breakdown on it, rather, but I lost my arm. I searched for ways to get it back. I wanted to roll with it, see if there was maybe a way to cure it. At this moment, it does not feel like there is a way to cure it. So definitely reload, at least for the time being, although I will say there is a caveat. I didn't do every side quest in the second and third zones. I kind of speed ran the third zone because I just wanted to start a new playthrough on a new type of build. So maybe it's out there, but granted, I did sort of speed through the last zone. I didn't see anything to cure my arm. That being said, I just want to talk about why I think Tainted Grail is an amazing game, and if you're into the open world sandbox adventure RPG, Elder Scrolls like, I guess we can call it, then this game is probably for you. This is going to be very similar to Elder Scrolls. If you played Elder Scrolls, the systems will make sense to you. If you played especially Oblivion, because this is going to have the progression style of an Elder Scrolls game. However, I think it does a better job of power scaling, and I'll touch up on that. But basically, it's a character sheet type RPG similar to Fallout 3, Oblivion, where you have your attributes, which are, you know, strength, dex, endurance, spirituality, perception, practicality, and ooh, there's one other in there. But you have your attributes and you're putting points in there, and it's very incremental. They give you very small bonuses. But you also have the perks and the perk trees, which are also very small bonuses. But then you also have your actual like journey progression skills, which is going to be like your one-handed, two-handed. The more you use it, the higher it gets up in level, and those will incrementally increase your damage. Now, individually, they seem like they don't do much, but by like level 20, if you knew how to grab things that were going to work off of each other, then you'll start to feel very, very powerful in the first zone. Because this wonderful thing happens is it starts off feeling challenging. I'm not gonna say it's difficult, but it's challenging. You have to sort of really try to dodge attacks, parry things, which is why I went mage. I didn't want to think about anything. Mage is by far the easiest seeming. I'm now doing double daggers, stealth, way harder than magic. So if you want easy mode, at least for the first time through, magic's very fun. You blow stuff up. But I felt so weak in the very beginning. It was so scary. Every time it hit nighttime and the weirdness popped up, I would just rest. Eventually, around level 20s to 25, I started to have, I had some upgrades on my gear, I had some relics, everything was sort of falling into place. I was able to one-shot most things in the first area. But as soon as you go from the first to the second area, then it starts to get a little more challenging again. The things there are a little more aggressive, they have a little more health, they do more damage, and you start that sort of process again, which feels really good. The one thing that doesn't really scale that way in the game is like deer that you hunt for the leather. That might actually be it, just the deer. But everything else feels super good because you get to feel that same progression no matter what. And if you want to feel extra powerful, you just go back to the first zone and wreck everything there. Like, say you didn't do any side quests and you wanted to tie up some loose ends, you can go back there and you'll still one-shot everything. You'll feel like a god. It's awesome. And I think they did really, really good with the pacing. I think that style of progression is a lot better than just universal scaling in general, because it's kind of weird, right? Like, if you're starting a journey as an adventurer in, say, like an MMO or something, and you go from the starter village and then you've made it all the way to the end game, you're killing raid bosses, you're one of like the most powerful beings in the universe, but then you go back home later at max level and all the boars are just as strong as you, and for some reason you can't manage to put down a boar with one swift strike. That feels weird, right? So this doesn't have that problem. It's really, really good about it. And if you're into doing like builds and stuff, because of how sort of incremental it is, it's very important that you're grabbing things that sort of complement each other. It is fairly forgiving. Like, if you max out a skill, like I had magic maxed out in the first zone pretty much, and I ended up putting way too many perk points into things I wasn't sure I was going to use. I even lost my arm. I lost all the wand upgrades I would have had, so I would have been even stronger. Granted, you can take a potion to reset those points. I just chose not to. Just play around with that, and the fact that the potion exists there is it's very forgiving if you're not feeling that you like your build at the moment. You do have to retrain the like actual active skill of it. So like if you want to switch from magic to one hand, you do have to, you know, train your one hand up. You're not just going to go from 100 magic to 100 dagger. It doesn't work that way. But the progression is awesome. I feel like we have to address the graphics. I feel like it's a very big non-issue. A lot of people, especially TikTok, that's where I've been interacting with most of you guys. A lot of you say the graphics are not great. It looks like it's from 2010. I think we're going to reach a point here where it's just such diminishing returns in graphics that it's not going to matter. And a lot of people have already realized this. You know, this isn't a new argument. This has been going on since like Halo on the Xbox 360 days. After PS2, it sort of stopped mattering to me, because if you look at like a PlayStation 1 character model, right, like let's look at Tomb Raider. She's a polygon, like, but like, you know, it's her, she's a lady, and it works, and as long as the gameplay is fun, I think that's the biggest thing. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't enjoy good graphics. I think good graphics are awesome, but also art style and art direction really matters a great deal. You know, I can still launch Elder Scrolls Skyrim, and I think it looks fine. All that really matters with graphics is it conveying what it's trying to, you know, be. Like, if your brain can be like, yeah, that's a crate, you know, that's all that really matters. So I think that's a non-issue. I think the graphics are very serviceable. They're not even that bad. They're very well done, and it's all, you know, these aren't just asset flips or anything. They're all pretty seemingly just handcrafted sculpts, and there's some awesome armor, there's awesome monsters, the environments are beautiful. I can sit there and just look at them. There's sometimes I would just stop in awe and enjoy what I was looking at, especially once you get to the Muspelheim, Niflheim areas. I think that's awesome. Another thing too is just how intricate the story was. The writing was great. The voice acting is very obviously indie. They were obviously not in the same studio, I can tell, but that doesn't really matter because it's very serviceable, and I think the voice actors did a great job. They did really good in pretty much most of the castings. The thing with the story, I think, is what really grabs me with this game, is how a lot of the choices you make, even in side quests, even in smaller bits and areas of the game, they will come back. They will touch on them at the very end once you make your final choice, which that has so many more like endings than I could have imagined. So very high replayability if you don't just, you know, save scum, go watch all the endings, whatever. There's all the things before that too, in terms of just all the choices you make. As small as they may seem, they may in fact play a part in the how the future of Avalon plays out. I don't want to spoil too much, but try to do some more side quests. You'll have a much more enriching and fulfilling end game there. But you know, I played thousands of games in my lifetime. I would say that Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon goes up into top 10, maybe even. It's safer to say top 25, but I'm pretty safe to say it's in my top 10 now. It plays like a Elder Scrolls game on steroids. The writing's great, the environment's great, the lore, the world building. I hope they continue to do some more stuff with this. The fact that it's a board game adaptation into a video game is absolutely insane to me. So maybe I'll check that out too. But, you know, closing thoughts, if you like Elder Scrolls, I think you would love this game, especially if you're more into like the darker, grim dark fantasy type of stuff. This is definitely going to be up your alley. But anyway, highly recommend. Definitely one of my favorite games, if not gonna be at least highly influential in terms of what an indie game is. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you managed to make it this far, if you're also playing Tainted Grail, let me know how you're liking it, what build you're doing. I'm very curious. Let me know what you're finding to be the most fun aspect of the game. But other than that, I'm gonna do another playthrough, and maybe I'll check out Claire Obscure finally. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.